and welcome to my book nook.
We are monsters. We give and we take.
For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I read all different types of books from all different genres, primarily fantasy romance at the moment. So if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe to my channel down below. It really helps my channel grow. So today's video is going to be a fun one that I'm not sure whether Meg with Books or Books and Lala started, but I will link to both of their videos underneath here because I pulled inspiration from both of them and kind of hodgepodged mine together. We are going to be doing a 5-star audit. Basically, I want to look at Goodreads from when I actually started logging books, because I'm sure there are tons of books that I wasn't logging when I was younger, for like the last 4 or 5 years, and see what do I give 5 stars. Are there specific tropes? Are there specific like things about books that I absolutely like find myself drawn to? Like I can already picture a couple of things in my head. Like I know I love a good evil kid trope and I love witchy books and things like that. But like what other trends can I find and uncover that I really like? And then once I know what I like and what I know will get 5 stars for me generally, what type of books do I already have on my shelf or do I already have on my radar that I could read to maybe find another 5-star to add to that list? So I think that'll be really fun. So this first part is going to be me screen recording on my Goodreads so that you can see all of the books and we can start to draw comparisons and find trends and see what type of books I do give 5 stars. And then the second half is going to be me actually looking on my shelves of my Goodreads TBR and seeing what books I already have to meet these criteria, and maybe I'll do like a couple of like vlogs on like reading books for my 5-star audit. I think that'll be super fun. So without further ado, let's dive over to Goodreads in 3, 2, 1, action! I went on to Goodreads and found my stats, and so these are my books. And as you can tell, the last 4 years, I actually started logging books, and then I have like a couple randomly down here, I guess from, I don't know why I wasn't really using Goodreads prior, but I mean, it is what it is. But we're going to primarily look up here. Okay. Although I do wish I could make the books a little smaller, or a little bigger, but you know what, it's okay, because I already can see a couple off of the bat. And so let's talk about my love and journey, especially within FanRow within the last year. I'm not going to put FanRow though, a specific thing, because like not all FanRow books get 5 stars. But let's talk about enemies to lovers, okay? Because I see Powerless over here, which that book was all vibes. Not actually a fantastic plot, but you know, I absolutely love that book. I see Powerless on here. I see Brutal Prince by Miss Sophie Lark. Oh my gosh, if you want an enemies to lovers romance, that is it. Like she literally tries to poison this man on their wedding day, on their arranged marriage day, okay? Okay, we also have From Blood and Ash, which that is a standard, pretty predictable enemies to lovers romance fantasy, but I really enjoyed it. It was one of the first ones that I read. We also have more recent ones like The Ever King, which I had a blast with that book, and then also Spark of the Ever Flame, which I just loved as much, and A Fate of Wrath and Flame. These are all enemies to lovers romances. And then of course I can't forget my favorite book of last year, freaking Serpent and the Wings of Night. There are literally so many others. I feel like I see a bunch of other books that I could label as enemies to lovers romance. So obviously that is something that stands the test of time, and I will always end up probably giving 5 stars. So I'm very excited to see which books I'm going to try to want to read later on, but enemies to lovers is one. Now another one that automatically comes to my mind, and I didn't give this book 5 stars. I'm pretty sure I gave it 4.5 stars, but like I consider in the 5-star audit 4.5 star reads because like they're right on the cusp. However, I know one book specifically that when I think of this book and I think of my relationship with my friend Brittany, it makes a lot of sense. I gave Bunny 5 stars. And I gave Catherine House 4.5 stars. And Brittany knows that I love really, really weird books. Like, that is a vibe. And I freaking loved House of Hollow when I read that book last year. Wherever it is. It should be somewhere up here. Loved that book. I also loved We Spread, which is like a weird... I don't know how to explain that book, but that book is a fan-freaking-tastic time. I also really, really enjoyed Tender is the Flesh when I read it 2 years ago. Okay, that one is not for everyone, and I know people think I'm weird for liking that book, but that book about human cannibalism, I was here for it, okay? But weird books don't always work for me, because if you look over here, Mother Thing, insanely weird book, not good. Just Like Home, weird book, did not enjoy, okay? It doesn't always work for me, but when it does, it does, okay? So I do like a good weird book moment. Like, Bunny is beyond freaking weird. Like, I mean, that's the queen of weird. So if you haven't read that and you like weird books, then you should read that. Mayfly, another weird one, okay? Although it's in the 3-star category, and honestly, I move it up to 5 because I think about it every single day since I read it. And I put it in 3 stars because I wasn't sure if I loved it or hated it. I loved it. But that's another weird one, okay? Like, we love a good brand, a good healthy dose of weird. Okay, if we go back up to the top and I see Reckless and I see Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home and books like that, those are books that made me feel something. Those are books that probably got me the closest to crying, but didn't. Or really like struck, like tugged on the heartstrings. Like Reckless, like Daddy Theo and like Taking Care of Winter and their baby, like I'm speechless. I'm just speechless. And then Magnolia Park's A Long Way Home, I cannot say. If you've read that book, you know the emotional damage that book takes us all on, okay? Even if it hurts by Morning Man, an emotional journey, a love triangle I was not ready for, I'm still saddened by that book all the freaking time. We Spread, also very emotional. Migrations, beyond emotional. This little, like, what do they call it? What is everybody calling this? Not climate thrillers. They're like, it's a book that has to do with climate. But, like, that's not all it is about. I don't know. Anyway, Leandra would know the answer to this. But Migrations, also a fabulous book that made me feel something. Freaking Sheep's little graphic novel. Oh my gosh, about the little ghostie, Wendell the Ghost. Like, had me sobbing almost. Also, if we look down a little bit further, I'm sure I can find more. Oh yeah, A Man Called Ove. Friggin' sad. If we go before that, actually no, I think that's the same year that I read, yeah, and every day the road home gets closer and closer and closer. Like, Frederick Bachman knows how to make you sad, okay? Any Man, sad book, amazing content, literally flips the whole time on its head, like, and then, of course, we can't forget my queen, my gem, my creme de la creme, Evelyn Hugo. I think about that book all the time. It made me feel all the feels, okay? It made me feel all the feels. It made me feel everything. So, I love a good book that will make me feel something. Whether it's visceral anger, whether it's sadness and despair, whether it's just pure love and joy and elation in my heart, like, I just love it. Another thing that I think of when I think of Magnolia Parks, though, is I definitely think about character-driven books. I love a good character-driven book. If you've read Magnolia Parks, you know that book has no plot. It has no plot, okay? Its plot is like thoughts empty. It's not there, okay? The plot is non-existent, as we may say. But I really love that book. I also love my favorite book of 2022, Other People's Clothes. Very plotless, extremely character-driven. Love that book. Also love Blood Sugar. Same exact deal. You see where I'm going? I really love a good character-driven book. Evelyn Hugo, I would consider a good driven book, okay? So I just really, I don't know what else to say, because I feel like I like other character-driven books, but I'm not finding ones that I would like specifically label as that. But like, you know, when you're reading a book and not much is going on, but you're just vibing with it because you are so invested in the characters. Like, we love a good character arc moment. We love to see it. Another one that popped out to me once I saw, where was it? The Last Housewife. I'm pretty sure I didn't read that in 2023. Did I? No, I read that in 2022. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. It's cult books. I really love a good cult book. I loved The Last Housewife. I loved Black Sheep. It's in 4 stars, but it was technically a 4.5 stars, so like I would count it here. I did love Just Like Mother when I read it, but I gave that a 4 star. However, I think about that book all the time, and that was a good culty book. I don't know. Oh, and Ring Shout, I know I gave a 5 stars right there, okay? So I love a good cult book. I don't know why that works for me. I know there are so many people that don't like that, but that really, really speaks to me. I have fun. Like, I don't read too much into it. Like, we just be vibing, right? It's all vibes. So culty books know exactly where to find me, so to speak. I want to make sure that all of my favorite books are like categorized somehow. So I need to find Jade City, and I know that that's an urban fantasy book. And I was trying to think about, do I like other urban fantasies? And I do, because I gave Crescent City 5 stars. Harry Potter, obviously, urban fantasy, 5 stars. A lot of the Wayward Children books I gave 5 stars, so I would consider that urban fantasy as well, because, like, you know, it takes place in, like, the modern world, but has, like, a splash of fantasy, okay? Those are all fantastic examples. I really do like urban fantasy. I know it doesn't work for a lot of people, but I don't know. As long as the magical elements are there, but it makes sense in, like, the human people world, like, that don't bother me. And I'm sure there are other examples on here that I'm missing, so I'm, like, trying to skim through really quick and see if I see others that, like, take place in the modern world, but I don't think many of these do, if we're being honest. But honestly, I feel like that's enough. Those are all fantastic books, and I just love them, like, with my whole chest. Obviously, we're not gonna skip over one of my favorite ones, which is freaking Evil Children books. I mean, we have The Push, we have Hidden Pictures, We have The Perfect Child is somewhere. I thought I read it in the same year. I could have sworn it. Yep, The Perfect Child's right there. We have Verity, which I know I also read within this year. Or did I read it even before that? No, I think I read it in 2022. Why I can't find it, I don't know. But I know I would put Verity in like the unhinged parent / crazy child. Oh, and then last year I read Baby Teeth. Or was it this year? I can't even keep track of what books I read in what year. No, it definitely was this year. Yes, Baby Teeth. I gave it a 4.5 star. Technically should be a 5. Okay, all of those. I love a good evil kid moment. Like, I can't really, like, explain what that says about me or, like, why that's okay because I don't want my children to be evil children, but, like, it really works for me. I don't know. I just like The Bad Seed. That's, like, one of my favorite movies. So, like, it does what it does. It does what it does for me. And then since I noticed all of these piratey books in a row, like when I was in my pirate romance era, and I read like Sea of Ruin and A Ship of Bones and Teeth, and I read that other pirate fan book that I gave a 4.5 stars, Daughter of the Pirate King and the Ever King, like, I love a good pirate romance, okay? I already have a couple of piratey fantasy romance books that are on my list. I don't know, like the swashbuckling Seven Seas just really like does it for me. Like, come on, Capitan, like let's go on an island, okay? And I'm pretty sure I gave Hooked by Emily McIntyre 4.5 stars. Like, just give it to me. Give it to me. And I also think of like books like Fourth Wing and Powerless and Serpent in the Wings of Night and Throne of Glass. Those all have competitions in them. And so I do know that I love a good competition book. I mean, Hunger Games also got 5 stars for me. So I like when there are some trials or some sort of competition that they have to face. And I mean, that always works for me. I really like it. Powerless, of course, wasn't as original. Kind of stole from Hunger Games, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I really love a good competition. I've noticed that. I would love to find more books that have competitions. I don't have too many on my list, so I'm excited to peruse my TBR after this. I'm trying to just make sure like there are no stones left unturned. Like, not obviously every book that I give 5 stars is going to be mentioned because that would be crazy. But I do know one off the top of the bat because when I looked down here, I saw books like the Mind F series and They Never Learn. And then I know this year I read There Are No Saints and Blood Sugar. And if you don't get where I'm getting with this by now, basically like serial killer / female rage / good for her energy type books, because I love a good book with serial killers, but also women getting the job done on people that need it to be done on. Okay, like They Never Learn, that book was bomb. Mind F, like Lana, she be one of my favorite main girly pop characters. Like, she really did what she needed to do out there. There Are No Saints, so good. And then Blood Sugar, I mean, these are all fabulous books. Like, give me all the feminine rage. Like, Temper, also 4.5 star book by Lane Fargo. Give me the rage. Okay, give me the fury. Give me the passion. Give me the desire. Like, we are here. We live to see it. And then this is going to be my last pop through. Make sure I really do a good job. I want to put The Covenant in something because I loved that book. It does make me think about witchy books because I loved that book. I also absolutely loved Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin and the other book, The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. And I also loved Cackle. I gave that a 5 star. I love a good witchy book, okay? Like, witchy books, witchy and vampiric books, honestly. Like paranormal, like entities. I really love books like that. But witches, I don't know. They just hold near and dear to my heart. Like, I just love a good witchy romance. I love a good witchy book. I love a good spooky ooky. Like, it just be there for me. It never lets me down. And then, yeah, I feel like I've said a lot of what I would say as to, like, what actually, like, gets a 5 star for me. And I feel like I did a pretty good job overall. Like, obviously, I didn't talk about every book in the world, and I'm not going to do that. And a lot of these books probably fall into those other categories. But, like, right off the bat, this is looking pretty fire to me. Plus, I don't want this video to be 5 million years long, and I still have to actually go find books off my shelf, like, to be like, oh, these are books that I want to read, that I put for, like, all of these trends that I just noticed. So, we're going to go and go find some books. Come back to you with the second half of this. You know what would be helpful? If you actually pressed play before you start talking, okay? Because I was talking for like a minute before I realized it wasn't filming. Anyway, what I was going to say is, so now we're going to switch over to the part where I talk about 2 different books for each category that we just talked about, or each trend that we just noticed that I want to read. And I'm not going to give descriptions of what these books are about because I don't want to be here a million years. Just know that they fit the theme, and that's all you really need to know about them. And since we started with Enemies to Lovers, I'll start with Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Scher, which I am reading this month, so that's why I put this on here. But this is a perfect enemies to lovers romance. Literally is a mortal enemies to monster lovers book. Like, there are books in this series that go along with this, okay? So I'm very excited for that. And I'm also excited for Court of Blood and Bindings by Lisette Marshall. I had not heard a lot about this until I heard from Honest Fiction, but this one also sounds insanely good. I know this girl gets kidnapped to, like, the Fae Isles with, like, this prince or this king, and that, like, dangerous enemy love ensues. And honestly, that's all I really need to know. But I'm sure these are both gonna be bangers. Then our next category was weird books, and one that just comes to mind as soon as I see it on my shelves every single day is Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. Like, I just feel like this, I'm hoping this is not too literary weird for me, okay? I'll just say the one-liner about this. A scathingly funny, wildly erotic, and fiercely imaginative novel about food, sex, and God, okay? Like, what more could you need in a book? I think this is hopefully going to be my brand of weird. Also Big Swiss, because I've heard weird things about that. I think it's about a person that becomes obsessed either with their therapist or obsessed either with this other girl. I don't really know too much about it. I see the cover all the time and I always want to read it, and then people say that it's a weird book and then it's not for everybody. So maybe it's my brand of weird, but you never really know what's going to be your brand of weird until you just give it a try. But like, Big Swiss is on my mind. As far as books that made me feel something go, I'm not going to actually put any books here because I can't actually predict a book that's going to make me feel something, because some of the books that were on my list that made me feel something, I wasn't expecting to. I mean, like, I can guess certain books. Like A Little Life I'm reading right now, I'm sure that's going to make me feel something, either really mad or really sad. But I don't always know, so I'm not going to actually pick two books for that category. But as far as character-driven books go, this first one is a little scary to put on there because I hated Normal People by her, but I promised I would give her one more try, and for some reason I feel like this is the one that's going to do it because I've heard good stuff about this book, okay? And that is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I could be 100% wrong, because if I didn't like Normal People are probably going to say, Rainy, you are not going to like this either. But you know, we're going to give Girly Pop one more try, okay? Because I feel like she has something she is trying to say, and I just want to see if I can hear it said clearly. But I don't know. The other one is The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery by Gabrielle Zevin. This is the author of Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow. And I've heard this one is like just fabulous and like hits you right in the feels. And I know that this has to do about a bookshop, and a magical bookshop, I'm pretty sure. And that's all really what I know. But I just love that this quote says, "The storied life of A.J. Thickery reminds us all exactly why we read and why we love." And so, yeah, it's going to be character driven, I'm sure. I'm going to fall in love with the owner of the bookshop. Like, I just feel it happening to me already. Next, we go to cult books, and I still am interested in this, but I haven't heard that many amazing reviews on this book, but I'm still going to give it a try. It's A History of Wild Places by Shea Earnshaw, because at one point I was interested in this book, and I still kind of am, and if it's a culty book, like, I'm interested. I have no remembrance of what this book is about at all, but like, I feel like that's the perfect way to like go into this book, so I don't know, but I'm still interested in that. And then I'm also interested in The Project by Courtney Summers. I've never really read a Courtney Summers book, but I've heard this one is a pretty good culty book, and I don't know a lot about this either, but it sounds like it'll be fun. And I know that Meg with Books is obsessed with Courtney Summers, and I absolutely love the cover of this. Like, this is just stunning to me. I'm afraid because it's YA, because I don't really read a lot of YA anymore, but YA thriller is not like that bad. So hopefully this is a good, fun, culty time. Up next is Urban Fantasy, and this is not the book that I was going to hold up because I wanted to start with like book number 1, but it's the easiest book to get off that shelf. And so it's the Mortal Instrument series, or like, you know, the Shadow Hunters series by Cassandra Clare, which this one is actually exciting because I got Chain of Thorns. It was like gift wrapped in Second and Charles for $5. And then the other day I opened it up, didn't even realize it, but it has a signed book plate and it has art prints. And apparently it is from Fae Crate. And so, yeah, it comes with like a special dust jacket set. Like, I didn't even realize that like this was underneath. Like, holy cow, like that's pretty awesome that I got this for $5 when I know it's not normally $5. So that was like a really cool thing to open. But anyway, I have always wanted to read this. I've been slowly collecting these books over the years, and so I feel like it's finally time to actually start my Mortal Instruments journey. And then also Middle Game by Shauna McGuire, because since I love Wayward Children's series so much, I know that this one also takes place in like the mortal world, I'm pretty sure, but has magical elements. And so I'm very excited to get to this as well. I know that there's about to be a 3rd book to come out in this series, so I'm a little bit behind, but I'm still intrigued. Then we have like Evil Child / Unhinged Family, and I want to read Brother by Anya Allborn because I've heard that one is like crazy, like killer family, but like I don't know too much about it. but I've heard that that's been categorized that way. And then I've also heard that Playing Nice by J.P. Delaney has like an evil child in it, and I've always wanted to read that because I know that that's a whole like switched at birth kids moment, and like the families realize like, do we want to switch or do we want to keep our kid that we have? So like, I'm always interested in a good child swap story. Then we have Pirate Romance, and I don't actually own either of these books because one hasn't come out yet, but I do have it on pre-order, and the other one I just haven't bought yet, but it's on my digital TBR for Pirate Romance. And so I want to read Beneath Black Sails by Claire Sager because I really, really enjoyed A Kiss of Iron by her, and I know that Beneath Black Sails is like an interconnected series to A Kiss of Iron, but it's a piratey romance. Like, there's like apparently 9 books or something like that, so like, count me in, Capitan. And then also Hexed, which is a new Emily McIntyre book in her Never After series, because I'm pretty sure it's Little Mermaid themed, which means I absolutely need to read it, because like, I'm pretty sure it's about Ursula finding her man, and like, I'm sure there's going to be some piratey stuff in there. If there's not, then oh well, I still really want to read it. It fits the vibe. It fits the vibe. We get to competitions, and the first one that came to mind that I know has a competition in it, because I have to read it this year for reasons unknown, is Trial of the Sun Queen, and it was just too far in my shelves to get right now, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that that's like Hunger Games meets The Bachelorette, so like, I'm intrigued alone by that. And then I've heard Savage Lands by Stacey Marie Brown has a competition in it. I don't really know too much about this book, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I think it's a little bit more sci-fi than I might possibly want, but I figured I would try it, and if I don't like it, then, you know, it is what it is. But it does say at the bottom, if the games don't take her out first, a fight to the death where only one survives. So there is some sort of competition in this, so like, color me excited. Then I have 4 books for like the serial killer / like female rage. Good for her because like I have the serial killer side, but then I also have like the female rage side, okay? And so I definitely want to read The Quiet Tenant because I've heard that, that one goes from like either a serial killer or a guy that has kidnapped someone, and it goes from like all these different perspectives, and it's like good, fun thriller, and so I'm interested in that. I'm also interested in The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torre because that girl literally kills people, locks herself up in her apartment so that she doesn't. She's also a cam girl, but then gets out because she has to right a wrong or something. And so like, girly pop, like, pop off, okay? Do what you came here to do. And then I actually bought 2 female rage books the other day because like, that's my brand very much. And so I want to read Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. I've been wanting to read this for the longest time. I know literally nothing about this book. I didn't even realize this was like a horror-y female rage book until one of the booksellers in the bookstore told me. And I was like, okay, well, I need to buy that automatically. And then also Animal by Lisa Tadeo. I wanted to read this back for the Full Moon Book Club when Jen Egerton did it, but I just didn't get to it. However, I've heard that like this is very good. And I mean, literally the first thing on here says, I am depraved. I hope you like me. And then it also says that she examines how the savagery of men fuels female rage. The result is as intimate as it is explosive. Like, just, I can feel the rage in the air. And then last but not least is witchy books. And so I really want to read The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I've had this on here for a while. I know it is about a sisterhood of witches. And so like, it just looks so cute and fun. I'm afraid that it'll be a little too whimsical, cozy, fantasy-ish for me. Because it'll be a no that I'm not that type of girly. But maybe it won't be that bad, okay? Maybe it won't be that bad. And then I also really want to read Wild as the Witch by Rachel Griffiths. It's the only other witchy book by her that I haven't read yet, and obviously we know I'm obsessed with Miss Girly Pop, and like she can do no wrong in my eyes, so I definitely have to read her other witchy book. So that is my 5-star audit and some books that hopefully I'm going to get to read in the near distant future to determine whether or not they actually will be, you know, 5-star contenders or not. So if you got to the end of this video, let's put some sort of animal emoji. Let's put a tiger emoji or like a lion emoji, whatever, for animal, because that's what I'm thinking of, okay? And let me know in the comments down below, what is something that you know you generally always give 5 stars to, if you know that sort of thing. Let me know if you like this video. Should I also do like a 1 to 2 star audit, because that would be fun to do, like do the reverse of it and like, you know, the other way around. That would be quite comical, that's for sure. So yeah, let me know, and I will see you guys in another video. Also, if you like this, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube and to hang out with me over on Instagram and all the other things, because we have a fabulous time. And with that, I will see you guys in another video very, very soon. Bye!